You are listening to More for the woman who simply wants more with Tiffany Largie. Oh my gosh. I am so excited.
I'm excited to be here.
You have no idea. I feel like I told you right before the cameras were on, I was like, this is like kid in a candy store, except like you're the only candy. And I'm so excited that I get to see you. And if the world has no idea how important this moment is for me, but I have the Donna Smith with me in this studio right now. And Donna Smith holds so many cards when it comes to like the conversation around women who simply want more.
Exactly.
And more importantly, she is such a big part of my own, like, I was going to say upbringing. This is the truth.
It feels like it.
I swear to you, I was going to say my own upbringing.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Bring it along.
Listen, but when I was just a young, inexperienced coach trying to figure out these coaching streets, but more importantly, so I'm going to take everybody back real quick. I sold my company in 2014. I began teaching. And I'm teaching, but I'm really struggling in the industry that I'm a part of and coaches and this whole narrative. And I'm in this kind of wavered place because I'm very good at what I do, but I don't associate myself with the industry, which causes rifts, you know, because I'm a little unconventional, et cetera. I won't walk you through how Donna gets to my doorstep, but I have the luxury of meeting this human. And in this business journey, she becomes a client. What ensues is, yes, I might be her coach, but it ensues a journey of a woman who taught me. And it is like one of the coolest things for me to even be in the presence of what it means to be a woman who wants more and wanted more way before I even thought of it.
Right.
You know, today, like women have so many different avenues like to dive into mentally and get ideas about wanting more.
Right.
But you were just telling us the story right before we went live about this moment where you have a car, you're living in this city, you're a teenager, and you're like, I got to get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
At what moment? Now, what's so cool about this is she didn't have anyone else's ideas or thoughts on what more even meant, how to get to more, where women weren't even allowed to have or want more.
Mm-mm.
And Donna was like, forget all of you. I'm going to go do this. At what point do you figure out, learn, or decide that you've got to go?
So my family situation was I had an older brother that was 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And he was causing the family a lot of problems.
Okay.
And I looked at his life and I'm like, I do not want that in my life. So when I was 12 years old, I decided I am leaving at 18. I don't know where I'm going, but I am leaving. And I'm going to make my life better, richer, fuller, happier than I've ever experienced.
When you said that knew that you were leaving, is it because there wasn't enough for you there? Like, where are you from?
So I'm from Pismo Beach, California.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a police officer. So every movement I ever did was watched.
Yep.
I walked down the hill because we lived up on a hill. I would walk down the hill. People would tell my dad, oh, I saw your daughter and she was doing this. And I was just spied on. And then when I turned 16 and got my own car, my dad put a be on the lookout on my car, and I was looked after everywhere I went. We had 5 little cities that were in the area. So I would go from Pismo to Grover. The Grover police would pass me. He'd wave. I'd wave back. Get into Aurora Grande where my high school is. They wave. I wave back.
Like that.
That was how
Constant.
Closely I was watched all the time.
That probably just drove you absolutely crazy.
It drove me crazy, but it also was like a sense of protection too. I knew I was protected because I had an incident on the beach, and a good friend of mine and I were walking on the beach, and I spotted the police car, and I flagged him down, told him what was going on, and they arrested the guy that was chasing us. So I knew I had that security, but my dad was very overprotective. My brother could do anything, not me. So I didn't date. I just went out with friends, and they all knew what I was doing, where I was, why were you at the beach after chorus practice and things like this. And it was just like, no, I can't live here anymore. I have to go somewhere else. And I knew that If I was going to grow as a human being, as a woman, as a person, I had to leave.
I love that.
Find that space.
I love that.
Yeah.
I knew as a woman, if I was going to grow, I had to leave.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
So many people get afraid. Like, I want to get it. I'm going to get into why I'm fangirling I'm fangirling right now at this moment. Like, I just want to hold your hand while I'm doing this. I am. Because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here in this capacity if Donna had not become a client and walked into my world years ago and taught me. So, you know what? Let me change the word. Schooled my ass. Like, she schooled me on so many capacities. What it means to love unconditionally. Mm-hmm. What it means to use your notoriety and your visibility and your recognition and your platform, whatever it is, to just help people silently. Mm-hmm. Silently. And the truth is that ever since I had the luxury of being in your world, I made it my mission to double down in that area, because it's that silent arsenal approach that you took that helped thousands and thousands of people around the world, which I'm going to get to in a moment. And it's like, I also learned what it truly meant to just see people for what they were, accept it for what it was, and be clear that like, I've got to do this thing on my own terms.
Exactly. I felt like, I'm going to create a family that I never had and make sure that my soldiers knew that if they needed an advocate, they could come to me.
She said the word. You heard the word soldiers?
Soldiers.
Yes. Tell the people. So you spent decades doing what?
So I served in the Army for 32 years as a military intelligence warrant officer.
Let's just pause right there. No, I feel like this needs a moment of silence, because she's like, oh, I did this for 32 years. Right. Literally, like, I almost stood, I'm dead serious when I tell you, correct. Didn't you just feel yourself like you were like, you know what, let me get myself together right now. I served for 32 years. Did you hear in what capacity? Military intelligence. But she didn't just serve. She served at a point and place. She started her game and starts this journey when there is no social media, there's no internet, there's no phone. There is no researching to see if other people even think like you think.
No.
There is no group of people next to you who are encouraging you, going, yeah, we all think like this, let's do it. Mm-mm. It's also at a time where it's like, woman, just sit down.
Exactly. And I was, when I went in, it was the Women's Army Corps. So it was totally different. We were taught differently. We were taught to be ladies first and then soldiers.
Sweet Jesus.
We got to volunteer to fire the M16 rifle. Volunteer. So I volunteered because I thought,
of course you did.
I'm in the Army. I have to learn everything I need to know. I went out. I fired experts. So the next week I got to coach the next private. I get to be her coach while the drill sergeant instructed her. And I just kept telling her, calm down, take a breath, blah, blah, blah. Because they didn't realize I hit every single 300 meter target, knocked them all down. So I was coaching her how to do the same thing. And that's what you really do in the military, is you coach one another to be the best that you can be.
I love this. I have this crazy visual right now of you with an M16. She's like 5'3". And I just I'm literally closing my eyes so I complete the visual of this.
Yeah.
Because I could see her first couple of shots and going, well, all right. Well, all right. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So you walk into the service. We're not jumping up and down for women. But there is a point where you say to yourself, I'm going to hang out in here. Why do you feel that, why do you feel that it was necessary for you to go to the service and just not move to Wisconsin, or just not move away? You know what I mean? Why did you go to the service as a woman when you said, I got to have more for myself?
So what happened was, it's kind of a funny story. My best friend from high school, one of my best friends, she was in a family of 15. She had 14 brothers and sisters, and she had nowhere to go, no college, no nothing. So Betty asked me to give her a ride.
Well, we're only 10 minutes into this. We're only 6 minutes into this thing. So my best friend was in a family of 15. She had 15 brothers and sisters. She said it, she just rolled off, in a family of 15. Continue.
So Betty said, could you do me a favor? Because I had a car. I was the only one in my group that had a car.
Okay.
I had a little Pinto station wagon.
Yeah.
Classy, yes. So I drove Betty to the recruiter station in San Luis Obispo, and we were sitting there listening to the Women's Army Corps recruiter talk to us and tell us all what you need to do and all this stuff. And then she played the video.
So your friend, so I was going to get this right. Your friend was like, hey, can you take me to the station?
Yes.
Because your friend was also like, I got to get the hell out of here. She was like, something's got to give.
Her sister joined the Navy. She did not want to go in the Navy. So we went to the Army. So we watched the video and it hooked us. And I said, this is my ticket to where I want to be in my life.
Where did you want to be in your life?
I just wanted to grow and be able to stand on my own, be able to make my own decisions, and be in an organization that would help me grow even further.
I really appreciate that because simply because of the fact that you said, I just wanted to grow.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like every move I've ever made in my life was actually just for that bottom line, and we could argue and say, grow in that, grow in this way. But it's like, I just wanted to grow, period, because you knew that you weren't growing.
Yes.
I feel like one of the greatest things that a woman could do is identify the fact that she's not growing at that moment.
Exactly.
Like, it's because the way the world works, and someone's probably going to get mad at me for this, but it's the truth. The way the world works is that women don't really get enough time to acknowledge the fact that they're not growing because they're so inundated with caring, the responsibility of nurturing, the responsibility. And I say responsibility, and I'm not talking about children. I'm just talking about in life.
Exactly.
And we're looked at to be like, well, we can take it. We can do all the things. We can multitask. And then women do that too long and they just go numb. But acknowledging the fact that you weren't growing and you were like, hey, I got to grow. And I feel like that's like a one statement for every woman who is listening right now.
Exactly. You've got to take a stand of, this isn't working for me and I've got to find what works.
I have to find. I got to go wherever it is.
Wherever.
So you get into, so you're sitting there, you listen to this video, and I love the way you're like, they popped it in. It's a cassette. It's a tape of some nature.
The little tape.
Yep. VHS. We're watching. Listen, this is happening. We're going there. And I love every second of this. So you say, this is for me. This is my ticket out. And you make a decision. Everybody was for it or against it.
I didn't tell my parents.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I did not tell my parents.
I know it. I know that's right.
First thing I had to do was lose 20 pounds.
Here we go.
And I'm like, all righty then. I will do that.
How old are you at this moment?
17.
Listen to me, people. You children listen to me. If everybody is not taking notes, let this woman school you. I'm 17. I'm not going to tell these parents of mine, and I'm going to go lose my little 20 pounds. Go ahead. I'm going to take notes.
So I graduated from high school 6 months early. I was intending to go to college.
Of course you did.
And start a new nursing program.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
No, this is not for me.
Couldn't do it.
No, No, I love college, but it just wasn't working at home.
Oh, so wait a second. So you actually tried to do college?
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't go straight into the service. You actually attempted. You were like, I'll give this college thing a whirl.
Right.
So you did a semester at a community college or something.
I didn't even finish the semester. I opted out as soon as I signed the piece of paper. I turned 18 a month after I graduated from high school. I signed the paper and I said, I'm gone.
I'm gone.
Went and dropped everything and said, I'm going to go do this.
And you went and got to the office and you're like, all right, people, I'm here. Got it. So you get into the service, and in the first, and I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I think it's important. I know it's important for every woman listening to really understand the evolution of after you make a decision and the evolution of what happens when you make a decision and then you're alone. And no one is in your corner cheering you on immediately.
Right.
You have to stand by whatever it is that you said you were going to do.
Exactly.
And there's no turning back.
No.
I love, why I'm a fan of this. I have seen the other end of it, but I got to walk women through this because for me, it has always been a decision of I am not turning back.
Exactly.
And I burned the bridge behind me so I can't turn back.
Burn the bridge, the buildings, everything behind you.
Burn everything. It's gone.
The village is gone.
The village is gone.
And my dad didn't know. He didn't find out that I had joined in the Army until the recruiter called to make arrangements to pick me up, to take me to the MEP station to go through the process of my physical and stuff. And the guy says, I'm Sergeant so-and-so. My dad says, no, you're not. He goes, yes, sir, I am. I'm Army Sergeant. And he goes, Army? Yeah, I'm calling because your daughter has enlisted in the Army. And my father just went, I don't think so.
I bet.
He said, because my dad's an ex-Marine. And so I came home from something and he goes, you joined the Army? I said, I certainly did. I'm determining what my life is going to be. I am determined to make a better life. I cannot stay here.
I cannot stay here, period.
No.
And you can't make me.
No.
And I'm sorry, guys, this is not about you. This is about me.
Exactly.
Period.
So my dad said, well, you're only going to last 2 weeks.
And I bet you that just fueled you. You were probably like,
okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, 2 weeks.
32 years later.
Yes.
Okay. So you get into the service. Where do you go? Just curious. How far do you go?
Basic training is Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. So wait a second. Hold on a second. So not only are you leaving this space of Pismo Beach, California, and if anyone knows, it is like next to Big Sur.
Yeah.
It is crazy beautiful, cliffs, seagulls in the air, and you go to South Carolina. I actually know where that is. Okay. That is a very different part of the world.
Oh, it's different.
And I bet you in that decade and that you were like, where the hell am I?
Well, see, my dad grew up in Arkansas, so I'd spent a lot of time in the South.
Fair.
So I was
prepared enough.
Prepared a little bit.
Like you had seen a little bit.
Okay. South Carolina is definitely different.
Yeah, South Carolina is something else. We're not going to bring in South Carolina because I like this episode. So, here's, let's move on. So you head over, you realized, at any point do you say, I'm in over my head?
No.
I'm just curious. No.
I'm like, this is tough. I'm going to have to be tougher. And we had a drill sergeant that was just amazing. And she would sit down and work with us and talk us through everything. She was just an amazing human being. And our platoon was on the top floor. So we stayed together. We worked together. She worked with us, talked to us about everything. So we decided that we're going to give her a trophy at the end of the cycle. Well, we did so well that she was the drill sergeant of the cycle.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so awesome.
So that's taught me right then and there that it takes a tribe, it takes a village, but all of us came together to help each other through all of our exams, all the things that we had to do, all the craziness we went through, sitting at bivouac in the middle of the night with a tornado warning, and we're all huddled together out in the middle of this road. And it was just an amazing process. And I just knew that I was home.
You knew that it was home.
I knew that it was home.
You had found the family that I was going to say the family you wanted. The family you created, the family you curated, the family you choose. I cheat because I had the luxury of coaching you years ago. And, you talked quite a bit then about your family around the world. Mm-hmm. And, I too chose family. And I feel like so many women get trapped into the cycle of the families they were born into. And I'm not saying there's something good or bad about it.
Right.
But 8 out of 10 times, I'm looking at a woman who is trapped by family beliefs, family imposed doctrines, family drama, family secrets, family hushness, and all types of things that have nothing to do with her.
Exactly.
But because the woman sits in it, allows it, or accepts it, it becomes her narrative or her burden to bear.
A lot of it is fear.
Yeah,
they sit in the fear and don't know that they can step outside of themselves.
Have no clue.
No. So once they do take that leap of faith, then they find that they're stronger than they ever thought they were.
Man, I love this.
Yeah.
So you had this family, you chose family. And I feel like for every woman who's listening, this is my second public service announcement to you. You can choose family. I am where I am today because I made a decision to choose family.
Exactly.
And it's not that I abandon anything or anybody
No.
It's just, I get to choose the narrative because I'm writing the story.
Right.
I got to be in the driver's seat, and I have to be respected, challenged, pushed, or encouraged at the level that I know that I deserve to be. And even at this level, like, I continue to choose family, and it is my way forward.
Right.
Instead of carrying the weight of the family that I was born into. And when I say weight, I mean burying the secrets.
Right.
Not acknowledging the elephants in the room.
Exactly.
Walking away from hard conversations, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So fast forward, you become the first woman to what?
I became the first woman to do a lot of things. I came to Fort Huachuca.
You know what? She's like, let me just give you a list. She's like, you know what? You want one? I'm going to adjust myself so that I get ready for this. Because clearly.
Well, I came here to Fort Huachuca, which is down in Sierra Vista. And I chose to be one of the first women to be on the funeral detail. Because for a long time, women couldn't be on the funeral detail because we didn't have pants back then. We wore skirts. So
did you hear that?
Yeah.
Women didn't have pants back then.
No.
They had skirts, so they couldn't be in the funeral detail. Continue, ma'am.
So I said to the first sergeant, I said, I want to be on the funeral detail. And he goes, well, you wear a skirt. You don't have pants. And I'm like, okay, what's that all about?
Yeah.
So we talked about it. And finally he said, okay, we're going to let you be on the funeral detail. And I got to be on the first firing squad on the funeral detail. We're the ones that fire the 3 volleys, before taps. Yeah. So we got to do that. And it's in the middle of summer in Arizona. It's 98 degrees and we're just about to cook in our Class A's. But I was determined to do something different.
You were determined to do something different.
Yes.
Were you feel like you were born like that? Or
I think so. Yeah.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like women in general are either born determined to or born determined not to?
I do.
You do.
So you can coach them to see that they can see the better side of themselves and the better part of themselves. Because a lot of women are just scared to just take that leap of faith. They're scared to go out and go, I'm going to get this job. And
they're just scared in general.
They're just scared.
They're just scared.
So you have to coach them and just talk them through it.
But I liked what you said because you're right. You said that you can coach them to see the better side of themselves, but you can't really coach them to be something that they're not.
Right.
Yep. I agree 100%. So fast forward, you, I know that you told the world about being the first working the first woman funeral detail. Got it. But you've done so much more.
Yes.
We had a woman in our world named Ana Gonzalez, and I really want to give context to this moment because Ana would not be in my world if it wasn't for Donna Smith. And we referred to Ana in one of my companies called Do the Damn Thing as the OG. And why? Because she was a woman business owner who owned a facility in Sierra Vista.
Right.
And she was in the health and wellness space, I should say. Health. Yeah. Wellness. And she had 10 practitioners inside. And so when she came to me, we grew her business and it was great. Now, fast forward, one day I went to go and speak in Sierra Vista and I kept wondering how the hell did I get down to this place? There's only 12 people there. And I was like, it's 6:00. Why are the doors all locked? And it was scary. But I was like, I'm here, people. I'm going to speak. And back then as a woman, I really didn't know, as a Black woman, I didn't really know what I was doing on stage because people were not cheering. There wasn't a welcome wagon every time I showed up in cities. But this was different because Ana had become a client and she loved me and I loved her. When I got to Sierra Vista, I really understood what it meant to be in the midst of like a community where the culture is centered around one thing.
Right.
And the culture there is centered around the service.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
The government, I should just say.
Yeah.
But
Military,
the service.
It's a military town.
I called it the service. Why am I just making up words? It's military. I love the way she's like, little girl, it's military. Let's get the right word.
Yeah, civilians call it service. And we know that it's military. It's a military town.
Totally.
And it's been a military town for a long time, but it finally grew into the size that it is after the Military Intelligence Center and School moved there in 1973.
So Ana Gonzalez one day tells me after she becomes a client that there's a woman. Her name is Donna Smith. And I remember speaking in Sierra Vista and looking at a room of maybe 30, 40 people, so packed. It was such a nice room.
It was.
And I remember teaching the very first time this concept around the power of story. Now, what was wild for me is that it's like 7, 8 o'clock at night. Anna has shut down her facility. All these people are just staring at me because, one, I don't know how many flashy Black women they see on a regular basis go through Sierra Vista. And then also I'm like, you should be telling your story is actually the only thing that matters. And all of these people, like 90% of them, are in the military or ex-military or married to military, and they're staring at me like deer in headlights. And they're like, I don't think so. I don't know about this. Is she talking about touchy-feely stuff? I don't get it. Is she talking about such and such?
Yeah.
Afterwards, you come up to me and you say something to me like, hey, I think you're right. And it begins a very fascinating journey for me of watching my work at that time in teaching people about story, how it's able to reach beyond the normal borders.
Right.
What I love most is being able to watch you transform by you owning your own story, walking through. When you looked back, one of my greatest accomplishments, I feel like, is that day, which I was talking to before we got live. And I was like, Donna, how many people have you helped? Because in this moment, Anna comes in and she tells me, I don't remember the day exactly, but I do remember us both being there. And Anna tells me that you're responsible for all things Anna. And I'm like, what? And I learned that she used to work for you and you're the person who gave her the, yes, you can do this. And Anna had high level, because I always wondered, how did you get into military intelligence? I did wonder that. I was like, how did you get into military intelligence? How did you get into this field? And she would kind of, you know?
Exactly.
You're right. And so eventually when she was like, explained that she wasn't qualified in that way. And you were like, can I trust you? Are you going to do the things you say you're going to do? And you give her an opportunity.
Right.
What title, role, position, because you're way up on top of the world and you can make all the choices, but you make a decision to serve from within.
So at that time I was a contractor, but I was the team chief, and she had applied for the job and I knew her reputation. I knew what she could do.
Yeah.
And so I just said, all right, I see the potential in you. I know you can do this job. And she's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can do this. So I trust you. Do you trust me? She said, I trust you. So just dive in. You got a problem, come to me, do what you need to do, but you're going to have this job because I know you can do this job.
Why do you think women are so intimidated to just help other women? Because in this, you just help another woman because you can. But I'll tell you, like so many women, they just don't help other women. Why?
I think there's a lot of jealousy because if I help you and you do better, then, you're like, wow, I just helped you.
And I'm below.
And I'm below and now you're above. And that's just not how we were taught in the Women's Army Corps. Is we help each other.
Yeah.
And we help each other grow and we help each other get a better job and do better things. So I like to see women succeed. So I don't care where they go. I want them to just blossom and grow right where they're at or find a place. And that's just kind of been my mission all of my life. I've always helped people up. And I just think that women can do this for one another. If you just stand up together, now you have a team. You bring one more on, you got a bigger team. And the more you bring on and the more you have together, now you have a village. And this village is not going to break because you all are strong. Not just one, not just two. Everybody is strong. Everybody wins. And that's how you have to do it. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
I don't need the glory. I just need you to grow as a human being, as a woman. Seek what it is you want to do. Just dig deep and go look for it and do it. And come back and say, I need some help and I will be right there.
Isn't it true that like the logical thing for women would be to make other women around them stronger so that they are strong. Because the truth is we're stronger together.
Absolutely.
We're stronger together. So
Absolutely.
like if you work really hard to make the 6 women around you stronger, then your network, your posse, your group, your foundation, your backbone, your whatever, I don't want to call it sisterhood, but your group, your community, it's stronger.
You're unbreakable.
Yeah.
This unbreakable bond of hanging together, making each other stronger. It's an unbreakable bond and nobody can defeat you. And that's the whole thing about it is when you come together, you can't be defeated.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I feel like this thing, you guys are hearing me, this thing is hitting me in my soul because I am taking a long time to get through Donna, but I can't rush this. There's just no way. And Donna goes into the service and begins to into the military, but into the world. And she begins to climb the ranks. And slowly but surely, she is climbing the ranks and crushing different levels of woman first, the woman only, in a man's world.
Yes.
And she is a little woman.
I'm a munchkin.
She is a little one. Like I went to pick her up and carry her. You don't understand. This is serious. I'm dead serious. I mean this. And it gives me so much joy to think about her in the midst of all of these men telling them to just sit down. And more importantly, demanding the respect that she deserves for what she knows, what she is, and her capacity. One of the things that I think was the coolest ever was listening to you talk about your time in Washington.
I loved Washington.
So what's so cool about this is that this woman doesn't just have a stint. She doesn't have a month hanging out in Washington. So one day I was telling her about me speaking for the Colin Powell Foundation. So I've spoken and I was asked to speak at the foundation many years ago and it was great in DC. And she was like, "Oh, Colin?" And I was like, you know, and then she began this long, very fun journey of telling me about her days of working with him.
Yes.
And, and it is so cool to watch her journey that mirrors this. And before I ask her a question about this, but I want to give you this consistency. At every chapter, you watch Donna as a woman say to herself and say to the world and say to the people around her, "Watch me."
Exactly. I work in the silence. I'm just going to do this. Oh, I can't do this? Watch me.
Watch me.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I would find the back door. I would find a way. I would find a path to satisfy whatever it is that I wanted to achieve. I would just find it. And when I was working in the military, they would tell me, "Oh, no, you can't do that."
Yeah.
"Oh, watch me. I'm going to go find it. I will find a way for us to do that."
Yes.
And that was always my goal in life. And that's always my motto is I'm going to find a way and I'm going to make a way.
I'm going to make a way. I'm either going to find it because it exists. And if it doesn't exist, well, too bad. I'm just going to go ahead and make it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm just going to go make the way because either way, I'm going to get over there. Either way, I'm accomplishing that. Either way, I'm doing this thing.
Right.
So you find yourself at the White House. In the White House world, I should say. The White House world.
In the Pentagon.
Pentagon, I know. I was going to say White House world, and then I was going to say Pentagon for everybody, but for me, it's still the White House. Everything that is in anything that's over there is White House. Right. White House labeled as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So you're in the Pentagon, and do you decide, I think I want to go work in the Pentagon? Like, how the hell do you get from Pismo Beach all the way over to the Pentagon?
So I was actually signed to the Intelligence Threat Analysis Center in the Navy Yard. And
she just made you feel stupid when she said that. Literally, she made me feel stupid.
No, the Navy Yard is just down the hill from the Capitol. So Desert Shield happens.
Yeah.
And there are no warrant officers working in the Pentagon for General Powell. He calls over to our office and says, "Do you have any warrant officers?" My boss says, "I have 3. He said, "They're now mine." Because warrant officers are subject matter experts in their field. And in military intelligence, the 3 of us did order of battle, knew how the enemy moved, what equipment they had, how it works, how it functions, all of that stuff. And that's what he needed to know. Is the nitty gritty of what does this do? How does it do? How fast does it move? Because the people over at the Defense Intelligence Agency could not answer the questions. So he called us over, and I was the first to work a shift.
She's one of the three. And the first to work a shift. Go ahead.
I worked the shift, and I went upstairs with the Admiral, and General Powell was asking a bunch of questions. And I was passing the Admiral these cards with the answers because he knows ships, but he's not sure about artillery and how they move and how many.
Donna knows, though. You guys understand? Do you understand the gravity of what I'm talking about right now? But Donna knows. So everybody get it? I just want to take some time. I don't want us to pass through this, but Donna knows. You get it? But she knows, and she's writing it on a card off from her head. Here are the answers. Let me just be quiet. Please continue.
So General Powell asked the Admiral, where are you getting that information? And the Admiral says, I brought my order of battle technician. That's what they called us back then. And he leans back in his chair, and I said, don't mess with me. I have 1-star stories with you, because I was stationed with him when he was a 1-star.
You were stationed with Colin Powell. Colin Powell.
When he was a 1-star, when he was a brigadier general. And he's like, okay. And he leaned forward. The meeting ended. I went up to asked me to come up and talk to him. And I said, sir, I was with you at Fort Carson. We were the ones that came up and briefed you every couple of weeks on stuff that was going on. And I mentioned Colonel Potter, who was the G2, and all the different people. And he put his head down and he goes, I am so glad you're here. Because we had, it was a tight group when we were at Fort Carson.
Yeah.
Because we deployed a lot. We went to Germany quite a few times, and we had a lot of problems. But he trusted us, and he says, I am just so glad you're here. And I had a phone on my desk that he could call and ask questions.
So everybody understand what just happened? She had the red phone. Y'all hear about the red phone, the mysterious red phone in history, whether or not this thing is real. She had her own. Everybody understand. I want to make sure that we don't go past this. She had her own red phone on her desk so that she could have direct access, so that she could tell all of the people what to do and how to do it. Let me just be quiet again. Oh my gosh.
So, we were in charge of maintaining how the Iraqis were doing in Kuwait, and what was going on and how they were moving, and trying to stay on top of it. And that's what we would be briefing him every single day at 6 a.m. So it was just...
You see me laughing because I'm thinking to myself, while Donna was saving the world, what was I doing? That's all I'm thinking. I'm like, this specific episode is about the woman who wants more. And I'm like, this is about the woman who did more. I'm like, this is not even about wanting more anymore. This is about the woman who did more, who does more, who has done more.
Season's over.
The season's over. We're finished. You get it? We can just play this on replay over and over again. I'm dead serious. I listened to this, and she's like, yeah, we're briefing to what the Iraqis were doing and what was happening and such and such. And I just imagine me trying to figure out how to read an Excel spreadsheet. You get it? I'm so sorry. Donna is running the world. Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's what warrant officers do. We are the subject matter experts. We know all the bits and pieces that the rest of them can't keep up with. And one day, a funny thing happened. This colonel was standing up next to us, and my boss, who is a 2-star general, came over and was talking and asked the colonel something, and he did this fantasy flash and dash and whatever. And he walks away, and the general turns to me and goes, now tell me the real story. It was like, he made no sense. So that was what we had to do. We had to know everything about everything.
So how many women are around you in this time?
2.
2 women, and how many men?
There was probably about 30.
30 men, 2 women.
Yeah. On my shift.
Is that the story of what continues over and over again?
For me, as a female warrant officer, I'm usually the only female in the section, or I might be one of 3 at the very most. Never a full section of women and a couple of guys.
Did you ever find pressure? Did you ever feel like back then, or even, did you find it that you needed to be more like men in order to be accepted back then?
No, I chose to be myself.
I know it.
I chose to be me, be authentic, be integrous, stay on top of things, be the best I could be. I had to do it myself. I had to do it my story and my way.
Why do you feel like so many women, do you feel like a lot of women get into, and I say military, but it could be anything, and then they try to conform to what's happening? Why do you feel like women do that?
Because they feel like they have to. Yeah. They have to conform and they have to blend in, and they can't make, those decisions to step out and kick the box down the street. You have to kick the box down the street. Yes. You can't stay in the box.
No, you can't.
Because you will not grow.
Yeah, for sure. And really, it's actually all about growth.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
So the story continues. This story is like, I cannot wait for you to write a book. I want you to know that. Like, I am selfishly like praying to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph that you do it right here in our studio so that I can sit in a chair. You get it? With popcorn and my own whiskey and my own Jack and Coke right next. It's going to be the first time. I just want to listen. The truth of the matter is that I know, like, wisdom, one of the biggest mistakes I feel that younger women don't take advantage of is listening to women who have been through it.
Exactly.
Like, I tell you the truth in front of God. I learned so much from having Donna near me. And I asked so many questions. And yes, I knew a lot about business, but my little knowledge in business is insignificant to what she has experienced in life. And just by listening to her responses and asking her questions and watching how she moved with people, like it allotted me a view into the world. And I know, like, for you come from a place of serving, but you also come from this really cool place in your heart of, and even if I didn't, I'm still going to give.
Right.
Because we have a responsibility to take care of other women.
Exactly.
I feel like we do.
Absolutely. Because, they are being disadvantaged and they have to see the good in themselves. They have to see their strengths. And a lot of women do not.
You said, I remember you telling me you had a group of women who brought you in, like when you got into the service.
When I went to Korea, I was 19. 19.
She went to Korea at 19.
I volunteered to go to Korea at 19. And I met this group. We were still in the Women's Army Corps. So I met these older women, crazy women telling me all kinds of crazy stories. But they sat me down and said, if you want to survive in the Army, we're going to give you some skills. We're going to teach you what it takes to survive, because it takes a lot. We've been through a lot. We're standing on the shoulders of the women that went before us. And now you get to stand on our shoulders, and we're going to help you just manipulate, get around, learn how to grow, learn how to be, learn how to do your job, and learn how to get through all the speed bumps and detours and all of that stuff. So these ladies were like, I was 19, they're like 38, and I'm thinking, man, this is old.
Yeah.
So they were all in their late 30s, and they told me their stories about all that they went through and all the stuff that happened to them and how they overcame. And it was the most beautiful gift that I'd ever been given. And they said, now, as you grow and you go through your military career and staying, you need to do the same thing. You need to pay it forward. And I always remembered that. And that was so significant in my life, as really a turning point of, yeah, we do have to stick together as women, and we have to see the best in each other, because we can bring each other down. We can do the whole judgment thing and make fun of and tear down. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to lift up my sisters so they can be up at the level or higher than me. And we have so many talented women in the Army, in all military services, really, because I've been everywhere. So you just have to lift each other up and just know that you're doing the best job, help them out, encouragement, say, forget that stuff. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's start over. Turn the page, write a new story.
You said something that's wild, that you want the woman to be lifted up, but it's okay if she gets higher than you.
Yeah.
That is the part I feel that all women struggle with forever.
Yeah.
And you didn't just develop this mentality as you finished your career. You had this mentality at 19, 20, 25, 30, walking through your journey, that it's like, yeah, I'm going to do everything in my power to lift you up. And it's okay if you finish higher than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't more women do that?
I don't know. It's like when I first met my daughter, and she was working for a friend of mine. She was a drug and alcohol counselor. So I would ask her questions. What is this really what you want to do in the military? And she like him and him, like, explain your background. So she told me that she had an associate's degree and she really wanted to do different things. And as I was sitting there, this is before we adopted each other. As I was sitting there, I could see the potential. And I turned to her and I said, Christina, there's more in you than you can see for yourself. I see so much more. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to apply for officer candidate school. I will help you with your paperwork and let's get it going.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, well, and so we met several times. And after about the fifth or sixth time, she said, look, I never had a mom that encouraged me. So you are now my mom. And I inherited this beautiful 6 foot tall Black chick that wanted to have someone be her mentor. And so she went before the officer candidate school board. It was my female 2-star general that was sitting on the board. And they were asking her questions like they do. And there's captains and all females and a couple of guys. And the general got to my letter because I wrote her a letter of recommendation. Mm-hmm. And the general looked up at Christina and says, how do you know Chief Warrant Officer Smith? I was a CW5. Christina says, that's my mom. She closed the packet, said, I'm not going up against your mom. You're going OCS. And so Christina was like, what? She had never, ever had that experience in her life. And now she's had someone who believed in her, set her to a higher standard. And she did. She stayed in, did some great things. She became a trans man and actually retired from the Army as a man, as a major. And she did all of this because someone believed in her.
And she's happy.
And he's happy now.
He's happy.
He's happy now.
Yeah.
So if we believe in one another,
yep,
it's the moon.
Yep.
It really is. Mm-hmm. And I love to see people just reach for the moon and go for it. Because I'm not reaching for that moon. I'm reaching for this moon over here. But I'm glad to help you get to that moon.
Ooh, that's it right there.
Yeah.
I'm not reaching for that moon. I'm reaching for another moon. So I'm happy to help you get to that one or to yours.
Right.
If more women could just swallow that statement alone. We're not reaching for the same moon at all.
No.
It's not only one moon on the planet or in the world.
No.
And there's enough moons for all of us.
Absolutely.
I feel like I owe it to the world to talk about like what you've accomplished in business. I've spent so much time talking through your military journey because as a woman, it's unique in itself, but the lessons inside of it will serve us all. And then one day, how does Donna become a client? So Donna has lived the world, been to all the countries, did all the things 500 times, schooled us all, had the red phone. None of us have had it. I don't know one other person who's even seen the red phone, let alone had this thing. But Donna decides, you know what? I am going to I see a problem in the world. And I love this because we think sometimes like we're too far gone, like we're too past the point. And I'm not talking too old also. And they're like, we can't. So Donna saw this problem in the world. And this is in the early part of my career when I was just teaching, like Do the Damn Thing as a company didn't even exist yet. And Donna's like, there are programs for vets out there, but they suck.
Exactly.
That's my word. She didn't use those words, but that was my word. She was like, they're half-baked. They don't really understand the vet. They don't understand what they're going through. And she's like, I got to help vets. I need to. And I know how. She knows how. She'd been doing it for years. Earlier, I didn't get to finish when I quantified how many people she's helped. And we got to this number and it was like, Donna, do you realize that you've helped over 30,000 vets in your career? Yeah. That was like a wild moment. But then she shut me up a moment ago, right before we walked in here, so let me tell you this. So Donna says, for every woman, the number one step is like, you just see a problem.
Right.
You see a problem and then you need to say to yourself, I can solve this problem.
Exactly.
Most women are too scared to just go and then solve the problem or attempt or do what it takes. Donna said, nope, there's a problem. I don't even know how to start, but I'm going to start. And that's how she became a client. She's like, I'm going to build a business. And the truth is that all these years, I had no idea what Donna had actually built. So a moment ago, when you were correcting me on numbers, and I went, how many people have you helped in your business? And I heard this 2 word, and I went, did you say
2,000?
2,000 vets have been through her facility in Sierra Vista? Think about that. One practitioner. So the coolest part about this is that Donna has zero business and zero business acumen when she falls on my doorstep. And she's like, all right, woman, they say you can help people tell their story and create a business. All right, let's do this. I'm like, all right, Donna, first we got to learn how to tell her story. She's like, okay, what is it? You want 3 sentences? Fine. Then she's like, here are your 3 sentences. Okay. Then she came to an event. Then she came to another event. She saw me speak. She came to Monterey, California.
Right.
Okay. She came, she saw, she learned. But the coolest part about it is that, make no mistake about it, as much as this woman has to teach me, she was always present with pen and paper, taking her notes. And I remember the day where she was like, basically, I'm ready to go help people. So she's like, great. And she found a little office and her little thing. And then she what name? Got the name. Lo and behold, to really, for me, there's only 365 days in a year. Most people who go out and coach barely see 20 people for the year. They barely help 20 people a year. You've coached 2,000 people in the last couple of years. What are we talking about?
Well, when I went to ministerial school, this is where it all started. I was thinking I had to be a staff minister and a senior minister. And my mentor, Reverend Christian Sorensen, said to me, young lady, you need to go help vets. That's your passion. That's what you need to do. I said, yeah, but I got to do this. And he goes, no, you don't. So I did the senior minister thing. I did the staff minister thing. And I finally decided to be a focus ministry. That's what I'm doing, is helping military vets through my focus ministry. But I had no idea that it was just going to evolve into this giant, not only helping vets, helping families, helping people,
speaking on stages,
I've been on radio shows. I've talked to so many organizations and just helping people help themselves. And when I went back to Christian Sorensen, he goes, I told you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so it's been an amazing journey, an amazing process. And I had no idea that it would end up being this big and wonderful. But it's just the satisfaction of watching someone finally turn their life around from what it used to be to being fully present and loving themselves again and creating something of their own.
Yes.
One of my guys, I had to get in his face and tell him, if you don't do this, you are not going to make it. And he cried and he said, okay. He went off, came back, hugged me and said, I can't thank you. That's the thank you. That's the success that I love, is when I get to see those guys turn their lives around.
Totally.
It's just so sweet. And that's what life is about, really. Helping women just turn themselves around and believe in themselves when it's so hard to do that. You have to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself first. And you have to find that place in yourself to love. Love all the bumps and lumps and scars and all of that stuff, and know that you have something to offer. You don't even know by just going to the grocery store saying, hey, how you doing today? What difference you just made in that person's life.
Yep.
And that's what it's really all about, is taking a moment, asking them, how are you doing?
Yep.
Listening to the story and then saying, I can help you. You can make a difference just by believing in yourself, loving yourself through this whole process. And you're going to be the biggest, baddest person on the block when you get through with all this healing and stuff. So it's just amazing how women can do that and turn themselves around. They have to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself first. Love everything about who you are, because we're all different. We're not the same. We're not cookie cutter ladies. We are different, unique expressions. And so that's what you have to bring out is your uniqueness, your expression, and just be whoever it is you want to be.
If you were going to give one message to the woman who is out there asking herself, what do I do next? Or the woman who is fresh out of the military, and I say fresh out in the last decade, and she's still trying to figure it out. What does she do next? What's her next move?
I ask her what she wants to do. What is your life? What's the fire that's burning in your chest? What is that life passion that you want to do?
Reverend Donna, I don't know. What if that's her answer?
So
how does she find out?
Then I tell her, go try stuff. Crafts, jobs, churches.
Just do it.
Everything.
Yep.
And you're going to walk into a place just like I did. I walked into this little room and discovered that I can make a difference because this woman believed in me. So I'm going to believe in you. And when you do that, you're going to resonate and go, I can do this.
Yes.
I can do this.
Yes, I get it. I hear you. Just say yes to all the things.
Absolutely.
And in that little room where you were like, yeah, I could do this.
I can do this.
I can do this. Yeah. Try it all. I love that.
Yep. Try it all.
Do all the things.
Absolutely.
As much as you can.
Absolutely.
Even things that don't even feel like they're for you.
Exactly.
Well, I don't like people. It doesn't matter. Go do the things.
Right.
I hear you.
Because you're going to find your niche.
Yep.
In the searching.
Yep.
Because that's usually when you find it. As my good friend Michael Gott would say, amazing things happen when you're out there having fun. All the right answers come to you at that time. I'm like, yeah, Michael's got that. So that's exactly what happens when you're out there having fun, not even thinking about what's going on or what could go on. Something is going to light your fire and you go, I have to do that. I have to do that. So I cannot do that. I cannot not do that. Yeah. So you have to do that. Yeah.
I love this. So the one and only, the only, Donna Smith. Girl, wasn't that amazing? Listen, I wish that I'd had conversations like the one that you and I just had. I mean, on my way to my first 10K, 100K, million with another woman, a woman who just gave me the game, the inside thoughts, all the stuff that we're not talking about on the surface. I wish I had heard from a woman who gave me the more and told me it was okay to be who I am and the way I was, and I didn't have to be apologetic about it all the time. That's why I'm so excited that we get to be here together. Here's what I selfishly want you to do, because I want to see you in just a couple of days from now. On Wednesday, there is something called Tequila with Tiffany. You can head to tequilawithtiffany.com right now and register. You and I get to have a drink. We're going to happy hour virtually. And I'm going to give you the current game, what's happening right now at this exact moment, so that we can acquire more in micro steps in between this. And if you're like, Tiffany, I don't know what I need, then do this. Send us a note, send me an email, send a pigeon, tie it and send it over here to Phoenix. But whatever it is, make sure that you're taking a step. And I want you to know that I'm here with you so that we can take it together. I can't wait to see you on the next episode as we race towards more.